Long before the United States was born, before the stars and stripes flew across any land, before the Declaration of Independence was even a whisper in history's future, there existed a haunting tale so ancient and perplexing, so wrapped in mystery and fear, that even today, over 400 years later, its truth remains just out of reach. In the year 1587, a group of more than 115 English settlers, men, women, and children, set sail for the New World under the leadership of Governor John White. Their dreams were ambitious, brave even, as they intended to carve out a new life across the sea, establishing England's first permanent colony in North America, far from the soot-choked streets of London and the looming threat of religious and political upheaval. These settlers landed on Roanoke Island, situated in what we now call North Carolina. The land was wild and largely unknown, bordered by thick forests, turbulent coastal waters, and native tribes whose reactions to foreign presence ranged from curious hospitality to wary hostility. The colonists built homes, tried to plant crops, and struggled to understand and survive in the harsh new environment. Their attempt was one marked by both hope and desperation. When famed stagecoach robber Black Bart disappeared, that word was found scrawled in his cell. Even the infamous Amelia Earhart, before her final flight, wrote CROATOAN in her journal. Could it be a curse? A calling? Or simply coincidence? Perhaps the most chilling possibility is that the colony wasn't destroyed, but was consumed by something we still don't understand. A tear in reality. A liminal zone between worlds. Something old and waiting. These ideas, though speculative, capture the horror that's gripped storytellers for centuries. That over 100 souls could simply vanish, and the earth would leave no trace. No civilization deserves to vanish without a whisper. Yet, that is exactly what happened to Roanoke. They are ghosts of history, lost in time, and the silence they left behind is louder than any scream. As you listen to this tale, consider what it means, not just historically, but personally. What are we to do with mysteries that defy logic, that leave only shadows and fear? Should we pursue them, or let the past sleep? Roanoke's story is not just a mystery. It's a mirror. It reflects humanity's hunger for answers, our fear of the unknown, and the terrible price of ambition. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it remains unsolved, because some truths are too dark to be known. In the end, the lost colony remains just that, lost, not only from maps, not only from history books, but from the very memory of the world, as if it was never meant to be found at all. The location, isolated by dense marshes and ever-shifting coastlines, feels timeless, as if holding its secrets close. In modern pop culture, the Roanoke mystery has inspired books, TV shows, and horror films. American Horror Story even dedicated an entire season to it, dramatizing it with ghosts, cannibal tribes, and curses. But no fictionalization can outdo the airy simplicity of the real tale. A thriving colony disappeared. A single word was left behind. No answers, no closure, just silence. Over the years, numerous archaeological expeditions have tried to crack the case. Artifacts have been found, English pottery, tools, and weapons on CROATOAN Island and surrounding regions. But nothing definitive. The mystery only grows as every clue seems to open more questions than it answers. And what of Virginia Dare, the baby girl born into the promise of a new world? Her fate, like the others, is unknown. But her name lives on in legends. Some say she was raised by native tribes and became a ghostly white doe, cursed to wander the forests of the Outer Banks for eternity. Others believe she died young, a forgotten victim of man's ambition and nature's fury. And what about the carvings, CROATOAN? That very word has appeared throughout other bizarre moments in history. When Edgar Allan Poe died mysteriously, his last word was reportedly CROATOAN. But due to a storm and other complications, White was never able to search the island. He would return to England heartbroken, and die without ever knowing the fate of his family. The mystery deepened over centuries. Archaeologists and historians have explored countless theories, each darker or stranger than the last. Some say the colonists were assimilated into the CROATOAN tribe, pointing to later Native American groups with lighter eyes and Anglo features. But no conclusive genetic evidence has ever been found. Others suggest they were slaughtered by hostile tribes or by the Spanish, who had reason to sabotage English colonization. Yet there was no evidence, no weapons, no skeletons, no signs of violence. Then there's the possibility of starvation and disease. Could a harsh winter, spoiled food supplies, or a plague have led the colonists to abandon their homes in desperation, only to die in the wilderness? Again, no remains were ever discovered. More fringe theories propose even more bizarre ideas. Some say the settlers became victims of a supernatural force, ancient native spirits disturbed by colonial invasion, or dark energy linked to the land itself. Roanoke has since become a hotbed of paranormal reports. Strange lights, whispers in the woods, disappearing hikers, and ghostly apparitions seen by tourists and locals alike. But not long after their arrival, they ran into severe shortages of food, weapons, and morale. And so, John White, reluctant but determined, returned to England for supplies. He left behind his own daughter, Eleanor Dare, and his infant granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born on American soil. White believed he would return in a few months. However, fate had other plans. England became embroiled in a naval war with Spain, culminating in the legendary Spanish Armada of 1588. All English ships were seized for defense purposes, and John White's return to Roanoke was delayed again and again until 3 years had passed. When he finally arrived in 1590, desperate to reunite with his family and colony, he found only silence. The settlement was completely deserted. The homes were dismantled, not destroyed, and there were no signs of battle or panic. No blood, no corpses, no graves, no tools left behind. The only clue, etched into a wooden post, was the word CROATOAN. Nearby, the letters CRO had been carved into a tree. There was no Maltese cross, the agreed-upon signal that danger had forced them to flee. The meaning of this carving would go on to become one of the greatest enigmas in American folklore. White believed it meant the colony had moved to CROATOAN Island, now known as Hatteras Island, where a friendly Native American tribe of that name lived.